Hey guys, Romie here. So this is the recap review for Family Therapy with Dr. Jenn, Season 1, Episode 10 was this entitled Last Days of Therapy. And this episode just talks about how it essentially gets everyone who's more so a straggler to go and finally dive into the program and make sure that they deal with what they have to deal with before they go back out into the real world. And, you know, Jeremy, Damon, Bobby, they're just all talking about how it's amazing that they can be around each other and actually like to be around each other, aside from just loving each other because, of course, they're family, they're brothers. And aside from that, Dr. Jenn has to talk with Tiffany because she needs to make sure that Tiffany, see where Tiffany's head's at. Tiffany, of course, is excited to be a mother. The issue is that her mom doesn't believe that she's pregnant. She fully in her heart doesn't feel like she's pregnant. She's really trying to block it out. That's all that is. She's trying to block it out because she didn't expect it. Her daughter is having a baby. And so it's like, that's a lot for her. And this is how she's processing it, by full-on denial. So Dr. Jenn knows that her work is cut out for her as far as Sister Pattinson's concerned. So that's why she just wanted to make sure that Tiffany, you know, since the program's literally almost over, since the program is over very soon, she wants to make sure that she goes and says what she needs to say to her mother. Dr. Jenn goes and does what she needs to do to finally break through to Sister Pattinson, to Michelle, but we're going to call her Sister Pattinson now, of respect. And the interesting thing is, Michael talks with Dr. Conti, and their conversation is essentially of how, you know what, Michael, you have to be okay with the fact that maybe Dina isn't going to put in the same amount of effort that you've been putting in. Just meaning that maybe Dina isn't going to go and admit her faults as far as their relationship is concerned and what she did wrong. You have to be okay with the fact that you told her what was on your heart and what you did to her, and that you're sorry for it. You took ownership and you validated the feelings and the emotions that she had. Now, if she doesn't do the same for you, even though it's not okay, it's okay because you did what you really came here to do. You didn't originally realize that that's what you needed to do, but it was, and you did it. So good for you. And I was like, yeah, definitely good for Michael because he showed a lot of growth towards the very end because he finally acknowledged the fact that he did a lot of messed up stuff, and it was probably some stuff he honestly blocked out himself, or at the time it's just like, you know, yeah, whatever, she's trying to group it all together as one thing. But shout out to him for being open and honest about that. And so apparently they actually are doing well in real life, not as a couple, but just as far as co-parenting and all of that. So it would be nice if the Lohan family could really get it together and keep it together so that they don't have to be tabloid stories, because after a while that gets very old and that does destroy family. So Tiffany is talking with her mom, and again, her mom still doesn't believe that she was pregnant. Now remember, her mom was there when the sonogram occurred, so her mom should realize that, that yep, she's pregnant, that's how it is, that's how it's going to be, and nothing you can do about it type of thing. It's interesting because now everyone has their, I guess you can say, official final therapy, group therapy. And it mainly focuses, for example, on people like Bam, who's just like, he just talks about how he drank to drink, and he also did some other drugs in order to just keep up that high, keep up that persona, where it really wasn't necessary. It wasn't necessary. It wasn't conducive to his health. It messed up with just his train of thought. He wasn't who he wanted to be. Every time that he got off the high, he never wanted to do it again. A week later, it would start back up. And so for him, it was more so about finding himself again and finding himself without the alcohol, without the drugs, finding himself without the, just finding himself, accepting himself, loving himself for who he is. Sister Pattinson is at the point where she still doesn't believe that there's anything wrong with her to begin with. So her being in therapy, here's the thing. We know that there's a problem, but I think Sister Pattinson is looking at it as, gosh, she's tainted. Something's wrong with her. And instead of, you know what? there's clearly a communication issue between my daughter and I. She's trying to tell me something and I'm not receiving it. Why am I necessarily not receiving it? And you can't just put the blame back on her and say, oh, it's her, she's the one that's delusional. No. You have to look internally in yourself and think, you know, maybe there is something there. Because Sister Patterson is rational. You can't be a spiritual person like that and not be rational to some extent. To some extent, at least. Brittany just talks about the fact that, you know, it was hard. Everything she had to do in this house was hard. And for her, it's about letting people in, showing that softer side of her. Also, making sure she lets her feelings be validated by, again, letting people in and knowing what's going on instead of brushing them aside type of thing. So it's like, oh, shout out to Brittany, Brianna, or... yeah, and Michael, again, was just talking about how he felt free as soon as he said what was on his heart. And what was on his heart was that he knows he messed up with his ex-wife. He knows he did her wrong. He knows he was emotionally and physically abusive. And that was wrong. Not only was it was wrong for him to go and be in denial and not own up to it as much as he should have. And so he was like, you know, it really did do something for me to also to go and just say that, because it was weighing on me and I didn't even know it was weighing on me. So we have Dina now, who it's technically her turn, and we know it's like pulling teeth. Dina's just talking about, yeah, Michael did do, Michael, by acknowledging the fact that he did what he did to me and how it affected me, it did help me grow and get to a better place. So, of course, I'm going to be appreciative of that. But we were like, okay, Dina, that was cute, but we need a little bit more than that. And then it's like, oh, yeah, so you want me to say something else? Yeah, so that's when Dina finally goes and says, and you know what, I'm sorry too. She's sorry for the fact that the way how she maybe more so handled keeping, managing parental rights with Michael, that's what she's sorry about. And I appreciate that, because no one's asking you to say you're sorry that, for example, he was verbally and physically abusive to you. No. But the fact that you were like, yeah, the way how I handled the parental rights, that would be hurtful, because of course if the shoe was on the other foot, she would be devastated. And as you know, potentially that's years lost of him having contact with his kids. And again, it's probably a situation where he was overall now, because if you mess with one of your with the parents, then it doesn't matter, you're still affecting the child by doing so. But if he was overall good to his kids, then them not having communication with him, even if at times they may not necessarily wanted to, that does affect their relationship and also how they grow as people. So it's like, okay, shout out to Dina for that. And Dr. Gems is like, damn it, now I can get that check. Now I just have to get Sister Patterson to see the light. Now I just have to get her to see the light. And Michael, when they were in the kitchen together, just said, you know what? I really appreciate you going and being honest about that and just saying what you said, because it did a lot for me. Just kind of owning your part, so to speak. So thank you. And so it was like, okay, cool. And again, it's very impressive that they can actually be that close to each other, period. Because I remember when they first came in, security had to be around the clock because she didn't feel comfortable being that close to her husband, because she hasn't been that close to her husband in so long. And so there's another scene where they're actually been working out together. And, you know, he's cracking jokes and she's trying not to laugh. He's like, it's okay, you can laugh. You know, we'll be friends one day again. So it's all good, Gina. It's all good, type of thing. And she almost falls off the treadmill. And he was like, oh, wow, I can still knock you off your feet now, can I? So I was like, oh, that's cute. That's cute. Now, afterwards, everyone goes outside because guess what? It's time for, oh, yeah, by the way, originally, Dina, before all of that, Dina was trying not to own her part in it when they were outside by the pool. But again, it doesn't matter now because she did in the end, so that's great. Now, they did a surprise baby shower for Tiffany. And so, Sister Patterson is just looking at the stuff and it's like, oh, this is cute. She even took out the wet wipes and it's like, damn, I could use this type of thing. That was funny. I'll give her that. But again, she was by doing so, she wasn't validating New York's feelings, Tiffany's feelings, and that part's not okay. That part's not okay. The fact that she's not doing what she needs to do to be supportive for her daughter who is pregnant, because by doing this, it was stressing out Tiffany. It was stressing her out to the point where she has to go to the hospital, because it was just like, damn, if your mother isn't okay, or even accepting the fact that you're pregnant and you need her the most, like, what are you gonna do? Type of thing for her. So Dr. Jenn, through her talks with Tiffany, realized there is someone that Sister Patterson will listen to. Her brother. And it's actually her younger brother. And so he comes over and, Dr. Jenn's just like, look, your sister was the most difficult, big-headed, arrogant, non-communicative, non-cooperative person who I've ever had to work with before. And he was just like, yep, that's how it is. That's how she's always been. And you know why? It's because of the fact that I believe she was the first girl. And so as a result, she might be the first child. Excuse me. But she's definitely the first girl. And so as a result, do I have to pay something today? Oh yeah, please like, comment, subscribe, by the way. Because she's the first girl, she always gave off this sense of, not necessarily entitlement, but essentially almost entitlement, where it's like, it's my way or the highway. Daddy loves me best, or mommy and daddy love me best. They love me first. I'm always going to be first, type of thing. And so I feel bad for him, because that has to be hard being in a family where your older sibling is constantly doing that. And as a result, she's acted accordingly. Now, he's the type where he knows that she does too much sometimes. And so he calls her out on it. So they always have arguments, but she loves him a lot. I'm sure it's actually because of it, whether she wants to admit it or not, because he's never going to steer her in the wrong direction. It's all out of love. So Dr. Jones is like, okay, I'm going to introduce you to everyone, so let's go. Now, April's just like, oh, look at this tall, handsome man. Yeah, but after that, you had him go, and of course, he was greeted by everyone. And Tiffany was just like, oh my gosh. And then you had, what you call it? Sister Patterson is like, that was Sister Patterson's laugh. So after that, after, all the nice pleasantries, because everyone's just like, wow. In that 30 seconds of Sister Patterson seeing her younger brother, she's expressed more emotion than she has in the whole 10 weeks of her being in this house. 10 weeks of being in this house. I'm like, that. Or 2 weeks, or however long they were there. So they're just like, okay. Now, her brother goes, and he's just not having it, because he's just like, look, you gotta listen to me. You're stressing out your daughter. I know that you love your daughter, but you have to treat her like she is an adult. You don't see her as an adult. You're not treating her as an adult. You're not taking it seriously. You're stressing her out, and she is pregnant. I've seen the sonogram. I don't know why you're not believing her. And she's just like, shut up, I'm gonna slap you, stop being stupid, type of thing. And everyone's just like, oh, what's going on there? The women are like, whoa, why is Sister Patterson on 10? All the men are just like, especially the Dash family. They were doing what I would be doing. We were just like, ooh, slap him, do it. You say you're gonna slap him, so do it. I want to see what happens. Anyway, so he goes and he calms her down. And initially, I feel like she might have felt like, because the cameras are there and all of that he was unintentionally embarrassing her by trying to call her out in front of everyone. And even a lot of the people that were next to them originally left to give them some privacy. But he was just like, listen, you do have a divine touch. There is something very spiritual about you. And I need you to really pray on this and realize that your daughter is pregnant. And you need to be there for her. You need to be there for her, because if you're not, it's going to be very difficult. You could lose her, type of thing. Come on now. So, that's when Sister Patterson had her breakthrough and realized, oh my god, my daughter's having a baby. Because as we knew, it was denial the whole time. But denial is a very strong and dangerous thing. So, shout out to Sister Patterson for her breakthrough. Shout out to Sister Patterson for her breakthrough. And after that, they, Dr. Jenn goes and gives them this nice little, it's not even really a dinner, it's more so, it's kind of set up as if it was going to be a fancy dinner, but all of them had, what was it, charms or bracelets or something like that, and it had something for everyone. And look, I'm not going to go through what everyone had, but I will say that, of course, Bam, for example, it was for new beginnings, and as we know why, because from this day forward, he's going to go approach life, completely new angle, completely new person, and I wish nothing but the best for him. I wish nothing for the best for everyone. April's was let go, because she has to let go of trying to control Bam, because that was part of the problem. Her control issues with her son. She has to go and allow him to mess up, or do whatever he's going to do, and just let the pieces fall as they may. For Dina, it was let it out. Let it out, why? Because Dina is someone who's very closed off, and so she holds everything so close to the, was it vest or chest? And as a result, you never really get the full Dina. Never. Never really get the full Dina. So. And what was Michael's? I miss Michael's. Let me see what Michael's is. Oh, I think his was maybe action or something like that. And, or owning his mistakes. Something like that. And, of course, Brittany's had to do with, you know, letting people in. Brianna's had to do with being more vocal, you know, making her voice be heard. Jeremy's was about forgiveness. Sister Patterson's was about faith. For Jeremy's, for forgiveness, it was about, of course, forgiving himself, forgiving his brother Damon. Sister Patterson, faith, because it was essentially, you need to have faith. Of course, you have faith in yourself, but you also need to have that same amount of faith in your daughter and her actions, which is very important because that's everything. That will determine if you're going to go and do what you've been doing, or just, again, kind of like April's mom, where let the pieces fall as they may. Because it's important that Tiffany is able to go and make mistakes or soar. And of course you'll always be there. We know you'll always be there, type of thing. I'm just so glad that Sister Patterson came around at the very end. I am so glad Sister Patterson came around at the very end. And for New York's, it was speak your truth. Speak your truth, because at the end of the day, it's better to be your real authentic self 100% of the time than a fake person, a fake and phony version of yourself even 10% of the time. I mean, that's just it. Because it was a situation where Tiffany would actually go and entertain her mom's antics, and by doing so, she would enable her mom. That's the other part. Tiffany has been enabling her mom consistently. So now it's time for everyone to go, and you know, everyone's just reflecting on what they're going to do moving forward. The Lohans are finally going to be reunited. April has her son back. Technically, New York has her mom back, so to speak, even though of course she never went anywhere. But we know what I'm saying. What else? The Dash family are back together. Brittany and Brianna are stronger than ever in their sisterhood, and just how emotionally and everything is out there. Everything is out there now, so now they can deal with it. I think, damn, did I just cover everyone all at once? Oh yeah, that's it. Please like, comment, subscribe. Oh yeah, I will be doing reviews, for example, Wayward Pines, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Watch my Empire recap if you didn't see that already. Watch my Love and Hip Hop. There's going to be a lot of episodes for Love and Hip Hop. I feel like Basketball Wives is going to be coming back soon. I hope not, but Lord Jesus, if it is, I know I'm going to have to talk about that too.